Hey, hi, Rishi. Okay, let's get started, guys. So now, what's the plan for today? So this is now means for today's agenda. So just we wanted to give a quick recap of the previous session because I know it's a 1 week of time, so we might be have tendency to miss what the things has been happened. So just we will give a quick recap on this one. And here, this is what we are going to discuss about what is JSON and what is the purpose of the JSON and then how it will be working for us. So these all informations we will be looking in terms of the JSON and then we'll give a demonstration. We all together prepare a JSON file and then we will look at it. So once we have been discussed what you meant by JSON, then we will start to know about what is JSON path. So now we know the what you meant by a JSON, and then now we will be trying to learn what you meant by a JSON path and how we can fetch that particular JSON path and how we need to read this particular plugin. And then later on, we will play with a one online validator. So there would be a tool so that we can all play and learn on this one. So quickly, we will try to learn from that. And there is another tool called Jsonpathfinder. So we will try to find that particular path and then we will check how these elements are there and how the JSON was formed and how to access the elements from the JSON. So these all things we'll be discussing about here. And today we will be major of our session will be consistently we are keeping on the data. So how to transform the data, how to read the data and how to access the data. These are the things which we'll be trying to do. So this might be useful for anything. So either it might be for API automation or for the web automation, for any automation. So this particular session would be much more helpful. So that's where, so please don't miss that. And then it's really very fun to learn this and then easy to learn this. And if you learn this one, so this will sort out your one of your major problem handling the test data. So how to handle the test data completely, it will be taken care by this particular JSON. So this is really very important session. Please don't miss and then stay with me so that we can easily learn this. And once after this one, so how we can implement in the Eclipse, we will be trying to see it. And what is our if we wanted to implement with the rest assured, so we will be having some BDD style. So that BDD style will be looking at this. Okay, now without getting delay, let's get started. So with this particular session, guys, now to give the quick recap, so what we have been done for the last week. So now in this particular last week, so once again we have done the quick recap on the previous recap concepts. I'll not go into that one because it will take a lot of time. So I'll quickly give here on that particular conceptual wise, and then into this particular things we'll go into the details because we can refer your previous videos. So we have been discussed about the objectives our session, and now we will be talking about the prerequisites. Means if you wanted to start with the rest assured automation, what are the prerequisites we have been done? So those things will be discussed here. And the microservices versus monolithics. So what is meant by microservice architecture, monolithic architecture, we have been discussed. And what you meant by an API. So we have been discussed this. And then once we discuss this, what is the difference between a microservices and API? We have been discussed. And what is the difference between a web services and the API services? We have been discussed. And next we have been discussed what are the types of APIs available in the market. And then we have been discussed the SOAP API, REST API, and then we have been discussed about the SOAP APIs and the REST APIs with the GraphQL. We have been discussed, and then we have been taken some real-time APIs and then seen in the F12 bar, like means clicking F12 and the network tab. We have been seen how this network transfer will happen. If you click a button, how that particular endpoints will be called in the backend. We have been seen this one, and at the same endpoint for the different applications. Oh, okay, so this we will talk later. That is not done. And here we have been seen what you meant by API. We have already seen now. We have been seen that what you meant by API testing. So I think these are the pointers which we have been started from the last week. So what do you meant by API testing and how we do perform the API testings? So this is what the things which we wanted to see it from our postman which we have been done. So now from here is the last session which it has been started. So now this is what the 22nd agenda. So now before doing this one, the first thing which we need to remember is Why we do the API testing? So already we have been discussed a half an hour to half an hour session on that. So because this is a shift left process, so we can shift this one, identify the bugs, so it will not cascade to the UI layer. So first we will test this one in the API layer, so then it will not go to the UI layer, so that you can restrict a lot of bugs. Because one more thing, so now we do have these particular things, right? Just give me one second. So now if you see here, now this is my web, okay, and okay, so this is my web and this is my mobile. Okay, so now I do have two UIs. Now for this particular UI and for this particular UI, the functionality is same. For an example, I need to log in. Here I have the login functionality and here I have the login functionality. Now when I have the UI for this one, so this is what guys, I told you, please join on time. It is really very hard for me if you're joining in the middle. Okay, so now if you see here, here I have the login functionality. This is from the mobile app. So in the mobile app, you might be having the iOS and then Android. And here the web application, we will be having the login function. So now for this login function and for this particular login function for the iOS and Android, there would be a common endpoint. So we will not write a different endpoints for this. Means for different endpoint for iOS, different endpoint for Android, different endpoint for the web, we will not write. So we will write one login endpoint, and this particular login endpoint will be useful for all other endpoints also. Just give me one second. So I'll allow. Okay. So now if you see here, now when I was trying to write this, now for what you need to understand is I'll be writing one particular set of endpoints. Now for login, I have been created one endpoint. Payment, I'll be creating one endpoint. And then search, I'll create one endpoint. Now, whatever the endpoints which I have been written, so these endpoints will be common for the UI, means which is the web UI, it is common. At the same point of time, it would be common for the mobile. So in the mobile, we'll be having the iOS and then Android. So now we will write one endpoint and which it can be commonly used for the web or mobile. See now, guys, you need to understand one more pointer. So hope this is understood, right? So we'll writing one endpoint, means one means endpoint. So this particular endpoint can be commonly used across the web application. Means in the web application, if I enter the username and password and click the login button, so then this will call this particular same endpoint. Now from the mobile app, so now this is my iOS. In the mobile app, I have entered username and password and click the login button. It will call me the same endpoint. From the Android, so I have the screen here. I have username and password. If I click the login button, once again, it will call me the same endpoint. So what you need to understand is the endpoint is a common thing which we will be writing it, and it can be used for multiple interfaces, means multiple applications, the different type of applications we have been discussed last time, right? So this can be used for Android, iOS, and then for the web applications also. So now if you see here, this is a web application, these two are mobile applications, and this is for Android and this is for iOS. So this is how we'll be getting this. So now what you need to understand from this one, so these particular same endpoints can be used for different type of application. Means this can be used for web, this can be used for mobile, different operating systems, these things will be used. And one more thing, if you created an endpoint, means this particular login endpoint you have been created, right? So this login endpoint, you might be created in the C#, or you might be created in the Java, or you might be created in the Python, or for an example, what you have done, you for this login functionality, you have been created in the C#. For the payment, you have been created with Java, and for search, we will be creating with the Python. It really doesn't matter for us to test that. Whatever the language you are trying to do, you do it. But what you are trying to give me, you are giving me that URL is there, right? So that is what the URL is required. How they have been implemented that particular business logic and these things, it really doesn't matter for us. And even we will not understand, I mean, it is not really required for us. Why? Because we are black box testers. So in this particular black box testing, we will not understand the internal structure of the code. We will just try to know the functionality of this one. So what it does is matter for us rather than how it does. Okay, so now, so what I'm trying to say is it can be a polyglot, means a few endpoints that it depends upon the developer what language he was convenient to prepare. So at the end of the story, he will be giving me a different endpoints, which is a group of endpoints, which I call it as an APIs, and a group of APIs it will be calling me as a collection, and he will share me that particular collection. If you see here, recently I got one particular collection. If this is one particular collection, it has been shared. So it would be like a txt file, or in the JSON file it will be shared. So once it has been shared to me, what we will be doing is, one second, I'll erase this one. I know that always I'll do the messy things. Okay, so now once I got that particular collection, what I'll try to do, I'll just try to import into the Postman, and then I'll be testing it. Okay, so now this is what we have been discussed in the previous sessions, to give the quick recap. So now this is how the same endpoints with the same level of APIs can be used for the different applications. And why we do means to identify the bug as early as possible. The cost of defect will be reduced a lot. And then how we do perform the API testing. So how we do perform the API testing, this is what we have been jumped into the API manual testing, and then we went to the Postman. So Postman is used to test the APIs manually. So this is what the thing which we wanted to try it out. So now what are the things we wanted to do it? So first we wanted to test that APIs, right? For getting that particular APIs, we don't have the real-time APIs which we wanted to have it. So now then what we have been done for this one, so we have been created our own fake APIs. So the fake APIs you means we have been seeing it, right? So we went to the fake APIs, and this is what the site, so which we have been seen here, JSON server. So this is one fake API endpoint server which we do have it. And here what we have done, so now first for this one, to access this one, we have been installed in the Node.js. And then once we have been installed the Node.js, I said that npm hyphen version. So as soon as I have been clicked this particular npm hyphen version, so I'll be getting that particular version of this one. It is 6.14113. Now once after this one, I need to start this particular server, right? So now once again I'm starting that particular server. So it started for me. So if you see here, the server is getting started for me. So to up and run the endpoints, right? So now it should be able to access in the internet. So now this server we have been up and run, and this we are in means making up and running in our local machine. Means local machine means my local laptop. We should have that particular APIs. So this application will create some fake APIs which is useful for some post, put, get, delete. So that post fake APIs will be created, and that API should be hosted in some server. Hosted, you're talking all big terminologies. Don't worry things, guys. See, now you are there. I need to store my photograph. I've taken my picture from the mobile, and I stored where it will go and store. It stores in the memory. The same way, I need to create some APIs, and then that has to be stored somewhere else. So usually the APIs will be hosted into the server. So now we don't have a separate server. So now what we have done, we've taken our own laptop. In our own laptop, so we wanted to host this one and up and run, so that I can access that particular endpoints. So now if you see here, I have been up that particular server. Now we can have this particular JSON server database. So I'm just upping that particular database. Guys, if you have means if at all you are having it's your own endpoints, these all things are not required. As we don't have real time, we do have the real time endpoints, but I shouldn't use that particular company endpoints for the demonstration. So that's the reason I'm not using it, because I do have many companies endpoints and collections with me, but we shouldn't use that particular endpoints. So that would be a crime and illegal. So that's the reason I don't wanted to use that. So that's the reason we created our own fake API, and that particular fake API, now let's see that we have been created, and this is up and running. So if you see here, I'll take this particular URL, and I'll just go here and check whether the server is up and running properly or not. So I'll just come here, and I'll just click this URL. Wow, so this is up and running. So guys, just give me 1 second, please. Thank you guys. So now if you see here, so now this is the local server, it is up and running. So my endpoints are ready. See now if I have three endpoints, one is post, comments and profile. My endpoints are ready. Now we started to test this one. So do you remember that? So I'll give you the quick recap on this one. So now to start with this, I'll say, okay. So now means already we have been discussed. We will be having many requests. We do have it, but the four prominent requests from the HTTP requests which we do have is very simple: get, put, post, delete. And we do have many other things like patch and all other things, but 95 percentage we will be using only these four particular requests. If you know how to test manually with this request, and if you know how to do these particular things automation, remaining things you can ignore, or by default it can be followed also. Okay, so now what do you meant by get? Means actually these all things will be performed for CRUD operation. So what do you meant by CRUD? So create. So where we will be trying to create with the help of post, create you will create the particular data into the database. Now what is put? You mean the okay, so what is get? You will read that particular data. Means so from where you are trying to read, we are reading from the server. Means when I use this particular get endpoint, I'll hit the server, get the data. Okay, and post means I'll create the data into the server. Now what do you meant by you? It is nothing but update. Update means, for an example, I have created my profile, I need to update that one. Means I need to change my phone number, email ID, something else, then I'll be using the update, so which is the put request. Now the last but not least, which is a delete, so which is means this particular D, which is the CRUD, which is the delete. Means with this particular request I'll be deleting it. Guys, this we have been detailedly discussed in the last 2 to 3 sessions. We have been discussed about this one, so that's the reason I was going very quickly. So post is helpful to create the request, and then get is helpful to read the request or get the data from the server, and update, so we will go to the server and update the data. Post, we will go to the server and then create the data, and delete, will go to the server, delete the data. So these are the four CRUD operations which we will usually perform. So this we have been in detail discussed last time also. Now what else we have been discussed? Now just this is what the URL. So now you have been seen it, right? So just we have been added this, the first URL which we have been taken. So now if you see in here, now we have been up and run the server, right? In this particular up and run server, so this is what the first URL, so we have been just added over here. Now if as soon as I get this one, so now I'll be getting this particular data. So now if you see here, I'll be seeing that mega star, power star, stylish star, mega power star, and these are the means what it was trying to do. It was trying to fetch that particular data from this particular URL. So now what I wanted to do, now I wanted to create a particular data. So now I wanted to means see, get means getting the data from the server. So now I'm able to get the data from the server, which is a server in case of here my local machine itself, it is acting as a server. Okay, so for that one only we have been installed that particular schemas and all. So now I wanted to do a post testing, right? So now what I'll try to do, I'll keep this one post, and then for the post you should have the body, and I have been given the means what is the ID till here, it is 8. So now what I'll try to do, I'll create it is 9, and I have been created one more data, burning star, Sampurneshwar Babu. So that we have been written over here. And now I wanted to post. So as soon as I post this one, so now this is posting to the server, and the server should be updated for us. So the server is updated. So server is running here. So it was taking the time. Why it was taking the time? It shouldn't take this much. Okay, so let's do one thing. So now I'll try to get one more time. The data will be not created. So just wanted to check what is the problem. It shouldn't take this much of time. Uh, So now what I'll try to do, I'll go to this particular endpoint and I'll copy this particular endpoint and paste it uh, here, and then I'll click the get endpoint. So now as soon as I click this get, so now you see here it was generating me the logs. So I have been requested on how much time it was taking. So this is to know that whether means this is the server level logs. I just wanted to verify. Now perfectly working. Now what I wanted to do, I wanted to do a post. So now for the post, I wanted to add this particular data, right? So now I just wanted to add the data bus. So I'll go here to the body, and then I'll keep, then it was raw, and I'll go here, and we kept this one. And last time also we have been adjusted this one, right? So just it's adjustment. So just 1 second. I'll just adjust this one for our clarity. Okay, so now uh, I'll just change this one to burning star, and here instead of this one, Sampu. Okay, so I just written this one. Now what I wanted to do, I need to post this request. Now what should be the ID? So now ID is means I wanted to give this ID as 9. So then I'll just try to click send button. It added as ID only 9. Why it didn't added for others? See, we have done the mistake. It should take the JSON. So now it will be acting as a duplicate. So I'll just change this ID. I'll let you know what had happened. Okay. If you see this, now it has been added. Now go to this get, okay, into the get request, and I'm trying to get this particular data. If you see here, I'm able to add this Sampurneshwar Babu or Sampu. So now this is how the post request will help to post and insert the new record. So now we are able to get, so now I'm able to get this one, and then I'm able to post this request. And then now what I wanted to do, I wanted to update this particular record. So now when I wanted to update this particular record, so which record I wanted to update, I just need to give that update in the URL. And here I wanted to update the data, right? So what I have been written, so burning star and Sampu Babu, I just changed this one. Okay. Now, when I send this one, I'm just updating the data. Okay. So this is how, even if you, when you do click update button and update your phone number, email ID, when you have doing in this URLs, it will happen in the same way. Now let's see, go to the get, and then we will once again get this particular data, and then we will search on this one. So if you see here, we are able to get that particular updated data. If you wanted to see this, just you copy this URL, and then you can go to your normal browser, and in the normal browser also you can take this. In the normal browser also you can see this particular data over here. So this is how this will work. Now what will go, so once again we will go here, and then just we will clearly check once again. If I wanted to, we have been used get, we have used post, and then we have been used put. Now I wanted to do a delete, so now I'll select the delete, and in this particular delete I'll take the 9. So now why it has been previously not created for the title and author, why it has been taken only 9 means, here I have been selected only the text. So as is given this text, it will taken only the first data. So not as a JSON format, it has been taken. The first line it has been taken. So as I change to the JSON, immediately it has been created. So now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to delete this 9th one so that it should able to remove this particular record. Let's see whether it was removing this record or not. Excellent. It has been removed. If you see here, the status code is 200. Now let's go back to the get, and then in the get, we will see whether I'm able to see this one. So we have been removed that 9. So now even if you wanted to remove this particular burning star, so what I'll try to do, I'll add this particular 10, and then I'll just go to here, I click on delete, and I send this one. So it has been deleted, it is successful. So now if at all, if I want, it already deleted, right? Now once again, if I try to delete this one, it will say that 404 means which is not found. This is client side error, which will be getting it. So now let's try and see this, which we will get this one. So as soon as I click the get, okay, I should remove this 10 here. And then if I fetch this, you see here that was removed off. So this is how get, put, post, delete endpoints work. Guys, these all things we have discussed last time. Just as a, still I'm giving the recap of the last session, what we have been done. Now, once we have been done this one, now what are the validations we will be usually doing it? So now when I have been fetched this one, so now what are the validations I'll be checking? So I'll be checking my URI, whether my URI is properly or not. And I'll check my status code, whether it was returning me 200 and how much time it has been taken. Oh, it was taking, it shows in the millisecond. So 1000 milliseconds equal to 1 second, means it's a 0.5 second it was able to respond. What is the size of this one? If you wanted to save this one, you can save this one as a file. And this is what your content, you got it. So now you got it, these particular nodes, and then you are able to see this particular content. Now how you wanted, means for an example, you got all your content, so you'll be validating, oh, how many records I got it, all these records are properly, I mean these things are right or wrong. So these are the things which you will be trying to validate. And even you will be validating your response header. See, now in the bottom of the window, it will be called as response, and the top of the window, it is called request. So now you have been requested and you got this response. So now the response, this is called the response body. The most important thing, we will be validating the response body with the this particular data, and even we will be validating with the what is a whether it's a string type or alphanumericals, and if you see the null values verification and all those validations and all things, I'll say keep, means I'll say in our implementation part. Okay, and then I'll show you what are the basic things we will do from the API validations also. I'll talk about that one. So now, so the basic thing you need to understand, you will be validating the response body, you'll be validating the response headers, you'll be validating the status codes, you'll be validating the time and the size. So this is from the response body, you will be validating it. And when it from the get, you'll validate only the URL, nothing more to do. But when you are trying to do the post means you are posting some data, and means you are inserting that particular data into the system, right? At that point of time, you will be validating the post body. So now here in this particular case, I'm inserting this ID and then this title and the author into this one. So this is called the post body. So now I'll be validating this all, and then once I send this request, I'll be getting the response, right? Same, once again, all these factors will be validated, whichever I have been discussed: body, headers, status, time, size. So these are the 6 high level validations which we are doing it internal to that one. So I'll let you know what are the internal things we'll be validating it. So now here, when we are, means these are the things we validated. And from the request also, we will validate the headers, means whether it is content type equal to JSON, means whether I'm sending this particular content type as a JSON or not, whether I'm accepting this one as JSON or not. So what is the content length? So these all things are headers. We will validate the headers, we validate the body, and even authorization will be there, which it is like a token. So which for this endpoints it's not there, but even we should validate the authorized tokens too. Okay, so now from the request pattern, what are the things from a testing point of view you need to validate? Whether the authorization is valid properly, headers are validated properly, body is validated properly or not. For an example, if I have been removed this particular value, so for example, I have been removed this complete value, okay, and then I have been trying to send this, so immediately it should be throwing me a bad request. Means the request itself which we are doing, it's a bad request. See, now I went to hotel and I said oh, what are you talking? So now you understood, right? He didn't understand, so that's a bad request. So I should say that, boss, I need idli. If I say he will not understand that, right? The same way, I need to give him the right information, or the right request I need to give it for it. So that's how we need to give him that right request. According to that right request only, he can give me the response. Okay, so now if I wanted to do this get, what it happened, I have been pasted instead of that URL. Okay, I'll just, no worries, I'll just go back here, I'll get that particular URL and paste it here. If you see here, now I'm able to get that. So now I'm able to get this, and if I wanted to post it again, I'll create it another record as level, means 11, and then if I given this one, so it will be posted into this data. So now when I try to get this data, so I need to put the post, right? So I've given the post, so now it is able to insert that particular record, and now when I do the get, I'm able to get that. Okay, so these are the validations which we will do it. So now once after this one, what we have done, we went to the Eclipse. Into the Eclipse, what we have been done for this one. So we went to the Maven project. So last time we have been discussed TestNG and Maven, right? So we created a new project in the we created that new project. Into this particular new project, so we came here, and then uh, we went to the pom.xml file, and then we have been added the rest assured we have been added the rest assured dependencies, and then we have been added the testng dependencies over here. So once we added the both the dependencies, now all that particular jars will be downloaded in my Maven dependencies. Now what we have been done, so we went and then we started to create a simple get method. So now what we have written is, so we have been written an means first an interface object, so which is response, and with the help of rest assured class dot get we have been used, so that it navigated to this particular URL, and then once it has been hit this particular URL, it get the status code, and we are trying to print the status code, body, content type, header, and so once we have this all, so taking that particular status code into a variable, and I started to do the accession. So this would be our expected value, and this is what our actual value, and then we have been printed this. So this is what the simple program which we have been written. I think for 1.5 hour we discussed, and last 10 minutes, within 10 minutes we have able to write this one. So that 1.5 hour session is important, so that if you understand that 1.5 hour, 10 minutes which we have been implemented this, and you have been understood all. So if you see here, as soon as we have been run, so first it printed this, and second it has been hit this URL, get that particular data into the response, and then we printed the response status code, and this is what the response body. And then if you see that same response body, whatever we are hitting from the here, see now as soon as I get, means if it is a get, right, so I click this one, you see here whatever the things you are getting it till 11 you are getting it. Now if I hit from here also, I'm getting the same thing. So there we have done manually the same thing I have been done with the automation. We have been get that, and we have been seeing the content type of this one, and then what is the headers which we wanted to, the headers which we have been passed for this one, we got it, and we just do the accession, and then we have been ended this. So this is what we have discussed in the last session. Guys who are trying to see this particular video, means in future if someone is watching, so whatever now I told you, these all things in detail, it has been covered there. So just to give a recap for all you people, I have been given this because this last Saturday we have been discussed all. You might forgot all these things. That's where I given a quick recap on the things what we have been discussed in the last week. So now from now we are going to start this particular session. I don't understand, for 1.5 hour session, half an hour you are giving only the previous session recap, then what you will cover for this week. I try my best. So actually we do have a lot of things to start from here. Let's get started with today's agenda with the Json. By before going to that, yes. Okay, please increase the font, and then can I have the recording of the session? Yes, you have all these particular things recorded, and it will be available in our repository. And I'll increase the font, don't worry. So actually, anyways, we will not get into this one now. So first of all, this is what our agenda now, because we need to understand what is JSON. See, now always we are seeing here this JSON, and we are confusing what is this curly braces, what is this square braces. I'm not able to understand that one. So first we'll talk about the JSON in detail, and then I'll come back to the Eclipse again here. Okay, and then we will see it. So if you understand these 4 pointers, then you can play with the API testing. Mark my word, definitely you can feel very easy with this, and not only with the API automation. So now how I fine tune this particular session is, if you attend for this session, now you can take any test data. Now you no need to use your Excel sheet, you no need to use your XML files, nothing can be used. With the JSON itself, you can play around wherever into the whichever the framework you wanted to use it, you can convert this one. So this is one of the most important critical part. When we try to create the frameworks, we will do it. Okay, so first let's start step by step, and then we'll go here. Now, before going to this all, so first of all, we need to understand what is JSON. So now here, this is what the content for today's session. What is JSON and what it is used for and how to create a JSON file. And we will have the demonstration. So this is what we are trying to do now. Okay. Now, before starting this, I'll just first to try to explain you about what is this particular JSON file so that it would be much more easier for all of us to get understand. Now, um, just imagine that. Now, this is what my browser, okay, and I'm sitting here and I'm operating this particular laptop so that I can see my MMT. So this is what the example which I wanted to take it up. So MMT, I wanted to see it. Now, this is what my browser, right? I went to MMT, means makemytrip.com. So I wanted to book some tickets to Hyderabad or Goa. I wanted to book some tickets. Now I'm trying to book this. I wanted to go, right? So first I have been given my um, given my date of journey, so where I need to go and how many passengers I wanted to go here. So I have been given, so on July 26th I wanted to go, and then I'm a single traveler, and then I have been click the search button. As soon as I click this one, what it will show to me, it will show to me so Air India. I have so and so 6 o'clock, and Indigo. I have it at 7 o'clock, and then the price of this one is 4,000, and then price of this one is 5,200, and I have the Air Asia, and I have Indigo or Jet Airways or something. We'll have it and have 6,000, 8,000. This is what the list which you'll be seeing it over here. Now, what this guy is doing, so now as soon as I given this particular search, so now this guy was reaching to different vendors. Okay, so he was reaching to the Air Asia, Indigo, and then Air India, and then Jet Airways. So he was reaching that. Go boss, I got a request with this particular destination to Goa. Date is 26th of July. So I got this particular two details. I need to reach out to this particular this guy. Give me if you have any flights to this. So he will say that, boss, I have two flights. You can take it. And this guy will say only one flight. And this guy will say, boss, no flights on that day. And this guy will say, I have 5 flights, boss. So now what this guy means, the make my trip guy will do, he will take all this particular data and he will present it into the client side, means which is on the browser, he will be showing to me. So which means it is very simple. What I'm trying to explain you here is, for an example, now I just went here and opened this, and if I went to make my uh, trip, and I have been clicked over here, and I was searching for this, and I went here, and I clicked on my flights, and I just selected some random destination, and this with this random destination I click the search button. As soon as I click this particular search button, he was trying to fetch me. You're seeing it, right? In the milliseconds he get this particular data, means he went to go first Indigo, Air India, in means all these flights information he bought it, and he was displaying to me. Now you need to understand that, will he stores all the data of Air India, Jet Airways and these data? No, 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 no. They will have their own data in this particular their own servers. But how these guys will getting it? So now this is what we have been discussed. This is where the APIs comes into the picture. So from this particular website, it will request and it will give me the response. So I'm requesting this, I'm getting the response. So now, so here the type of request which we are using, that REST request we have been discussed, REST and SOAP we have been discussed, right? So now I have been requested, and this is was giving me the response, and the response I was setting into my front end UI. Now what it was happening is, when I was sending the data, so in which format I need to send the data? So I have been requested for the server. So this is what my server, and this is what my machine. So now I'm just talking about this one. Okay. Okay. I make, rather than mission, I'll say that client. Okay. So this is Air India. Consider this is an Air India, and this is what my browser. I requested. Okay. Requested, and it given me the response. Now, what would be the response? Means they need to give it to me, right? See, if I talk to you in Spanish, will you give me the response? You'll say, idiot, I don't know what you're talking. So if I talk to you English, then you'll say that, boss, and okay, what do you want? I want idli. Okay, take idli. He will give me the idli. Means I should have the common language or common transformation of the data. So now for the common transformation of data, we will be using the XML or we will be using JSON. So with this particular JSON data means we can, this is JSON is a format of the data, how it exchanges between the client and the server, or it is a mode of the transformation of data from one place to another place. Means from the server, I wanted to transfer the data, and from the client, I can transfer this particular data. So this is, the data format is called JSON. So with this particular JSON data format, we are trying to do this one. Why we, the JSON, the name itself, it was means what is the expansion of this one is JavaScript object notation. It is not Java's, some, the people will give different names. No, it's a JavaScript object notation. Why it named in the JavaScript object notation is all your HTML pages will be developed in the JavaScripts, right? For with that particular standard, this particular format has been derived. So that's the reason it was named as a JavaScript object notation. Oh, you are saying it is for JavaScript object notation. Will it not be used for Java? Will it not used for any other particular languages, C# or any other technologies will not use the JSON? Probably yes. Probably yes. It can be used. It can be used, but there is a simple tweak we need to do it. It have that portability to support for any other languages, either it for Java, C#, Python, anything it can be supported. So now JSON is a format. It's a data format, how it can translate from the server to the client, or some between two medias. If I wanted to transfer the data, it's not only that if I used it in the server and client, then only it will be calling the JSON format. No, 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 no. In my framework, instead of passing my test data in the Excel sheet to the script, I can use the JSON and I pass from the JSON file to the test script. I'll do that, right? So when I'm trying to do this, so even there also I'll be using the JSON. So JSON is nothing but it's a type of a format which it is very easy in readable nature and very easy to create and then see it. Don't worry, soon we will create that particular things and then we will know about it. So now first of all, I just wanted to let you know what do you meant by JSON or why it will be useful. So as I told you, right? So there are few things which I wanted to say for this. So JSON is nothing but JavaScript object notation, and it is portable for any language. Either it can support for Java or anything, it can be supportable. And see, it was the basic definition for this one. So way of communicating the data with a specific rules. So how we wanted to generate this one, so we wanted to send the data from one place to another place with a set of rules which is using like a key pair values. If you wanted to see what is that particular key pair values, I can show one particular sample, which is here. Oh, I closed it. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'll click this one. So here, if you see here, I'll show one particular sampler. So how the JSON file will look like for us. Why it's not working? Okay, so I'll click on this. Okay, I quickly I can have this. So now this is what the JSON format. Now you see here for this particular JSON format, I have a key pair value. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm sending a list of books. Now I do have 4 books. One is Saying the Century, Sword of Honor, and Moby Dick, and the Lords of Rings. So I have 4 books. Who is the author for that one? And what is the price of this one? So this is what I wanted to send the data. See now where it will be coming for. If I wanted to search in Amazon, I wanted to search for the books, then this particular books will be come for me. And if I'm searching for only horror movies or fictional books, then I'll be able to get that fictional books over here. How to filter that on all the things, we'll see it. So this is what the JSON format. But by seeing this one, you can clearly understand, right? But there is a store and these are the books. And what are my books? I have these 4 books are there. And for this particular 4 books, who is the author? And for this particular books, what is the price? I can clearly understand. Oh, author, this, title, this, price, this. These all things you can easily understand and you can know about this, right? So this is what the JSON format, and it is very easy to do the readability. Okay, the syntax is taken from the JavaScript, but it is portable for other languages. I already told you this pointer, right? So the syntax as it is, means many of our HTML pages has been developed in the JavaScript. So this is what the standard. So ECMA 263 262, the third edition, this was done in the December 1999. So that's where at that point of time, so they have been introduced this particular JSON format. So based upon this particular standard, so they have been derived this particular JSON, and it is very lightweight, and then it is very easy to parse and generate. Parsing means what?
Converting to from one type to another type.
Parsing, that is casting.
Okay.
Parsing means accessing. Means first of all, I wanted to divide this. Means if I wanted to access only the title of this one, so sword of horn. So now I wanted to access only this lots of ring. So I can easily access this particular text, right? So it is very easy to parse the data and access the data. Means dividing and then accessing that. Means accessing that particular JSON and then getting that, fetching that particular data. It is very easy in this particular JSON format. Now, okay, let's go into the little bit details about this one. Now, there are two things you shouldn't forget in your life. One, always remember that curly braces 0. What do you meant by this one is, always if you see in this particular JSON, okay, in the JSON, if you see this curly braces, then this is called object. So that's the reason I kept it the curly braces O. But if you find out this particular curly braces, then it is object. And if you've seen this particular square braces, then this is called as array. Very simple, but always people will forget this. Always people will forget this. Keep it in mind. Always objects will be in the curly braces and square braces will be array. But what do you mean by an object? Don't worry, don't worry. I'll explain that one. Just to hold on. Now, uh, in the object, you will be having a collection of names and page, the name and value. For an example, now what I'll try to do, I'll try to quickly create one JSON for you. See now, I have been created this. So now, what is this? This is called as object or what?
Object.
Okay, so now
Object.
what I'll try to do. So if you see here, we need to we have been already discussed, right? So always you should remember this would be a square braces, will be array, and this is object. Now what I'll try to do, go for this. Now first I'll be trying to start here. Now what I'll try to do, start. Okay, here I'll give it as user, or okay, it is very easy for us if we take in this example, student. Okay, so whenever you are writing something, always this will be in the double quotes. Okay, now you given in a double quotes. Now once you given in the double quotes, you have been given the colon. And so now here what you are trying to do, I wanted to create multiple students, right? So now this is what, uh, grouping of multiple things into a single thing, which is called an array. Array consists of multiple records, right? So now that's the reason I have been created this particular array here. Now inside the array, I wanted to create some means student names. Now what I'll try to do, as this is one student, so now what I'll try to write, so here I'll write as first name. So even this should be into the double quotes. This is what the basic syntax. Now whatever the things you wanted to write it, you write it. And here always you should follow the colon, and in the colon, so now the first name equal to Abhilash. Okay, now roll number I need to write for him. So as it starts with roll number, so now here this would be, here the data will be colon 1. And as you first have been this particular record, and this shouldn't be matched, right? So you should be having a comma separator. Now my first record is ready. My first record is ready. So one student is ready. Now second student I wanted to create. So now second student I wanted to write it here. I'll be writing this one as Sonam, and the ID would be 2. And my second record is also cleared. And I wanted to create, you know, after this record, when I was trying to add these records, I just wanted to give a comma. Okay, so now this is one record, and this is one record, which means this record, means this is the scope of this one record, which is called one object, one JSON object. This one is JSON object. And now once again, I'll copy the same thing. So I have another student. So I'll just write this one here, and I'll write Ram. And if you see here, means this comma should be there here. So I'll just keep it to here. And then now once again, I wanted to add one more pointer, means one more student. So now I'll just add it here, and I'll keep this one as Pina. So now I have been added this all. So now the roll numbers also will change, right? This is okay. This is for 2, and then this is for 3, and then this is for 4. So now if you see here, in this particular, okay, in this particular array, I have 4 objects which we have been written. And so this is my root, and this, for this particular root, I have this. Okay, whether you wanted to validate whether I have been done this one rightly or not, means bus I created this particular JSON, is this particular JSON is right or wrong. Now what you can do is, there are many portals available. So here if you seen it, so we can have Json Validator. If you click in this one, you can find many things into this. You can just click on this, and then you can keep this, and then you can process this. It can do the formatting. So now see, everything is perfect. So there is nothing. So for an example, if I miss this comma here, and then if I process this, see, it was saying that some issue is there. So it was saying that expecting comma for this. So I can create my own test data. Means when you're trying to prepare your test data, you can create your own test data. And always think that our responses always will be getting in the JSON format. If you feel that some response is not good, copy that response and put into this one, you can get this. And the most wonderful tool which you wanted to use this one is, here we do have one tool which is Jsonpathfinder.com. So if you go to this particular tool, it will make your life very easy. You will not understand now, but in the course of before completion of this one, easily you will try to understand this. So now this is what my JSON, right? So I'll just take this particular JSON, and then I'll copy this my JSON here. Now when I have been copied this one, you see here by default it came here. Now it given me 0 1 2 3. Okay, I just gone here, I need this particular data. See, as soon as I selected this, it was generating me the path. With this particular path, I'm able to access this data. See, if I given this path, I'm able to access. Don't worry, I have a separate session. This is, if you go with this one, you will not learn how to parse the data. That's where I don't wanted to say this. That's the reason I'll not talk much about this particular tool. So I'll just jump for another tool, and there I'll try to explain for you. So now by this, what you try to understand is, what do you meant by JSON, why JSON would be used, and what are the format we will be having in the JSON. So if you see here, we have an object and we have an array. So object is nothing but collection of value, name and value pairs. So that is what we have been seen, boss. We've seen, so the collection of key and pair value I have been seen over here. Excellent. I have been seen the collection of name, pair value, and array, an order list of values. Now if you see here, now these are the list values. These are the multiple values which we'll be seeing it in the array. Okay, so now this is where I already told. So this is what quick things which we have been discussed, right? So always objects will have the curly braces, and it would be separated with the comma. The most important thing, you shouldn't forget about this. So always the data would be separated with the help of comma, internally, externally. If you miss one comma, you are gone. Recently in one of our framework, we have been missed a comma in iOS framework. We are merging two frameworks for one of the critical project. For that particular project, we are having a single test data, wanted to pass it for Android and then iOS. We created the JSON data, and in that particular JSON data, I missed one comma with the file size of 500 to 600. We just kept into the marker also, means validators also, we are not able to identify that issues. Rather than that, we created once again that. So we have to be so cautious in terms of this particular comma separateds. Okay, so now you've seen it, right? So object will be having a name and key pair values, and then it will be having with the curly braces. So each and every curly braces bracket means the thing will be called as a single object. See, now Java is one object, Python means this this particular below section is called one more object. So these are the things which we have discussed. And now once it come to the array, so now this square braces is there, right? So this particular square braces which we have been discussed for this particular array values. So now this particular array consists of object 1 and this is object 2. So this is what it consists of array for this. Okay. Now next what? So in JSON, is this the only format we can store it? No, in the JSON, so we can store multiple things also. We can store the key pair values like this, and we can store the array values like this, and we can store the string values like this, numbers, booleans, and null values also. So how, Chris, how we can do this? So it is very simple. You can go here. For an example, I keep here, I come and then say that I have hobbies. So hobbies, I can say that what hobbies, Abhilash, I can write it here. Uh, okay, so I think
Stamp collection.
watching. So now I was trying to add a list of things, right? So now I'll keep the array here. Now into the array, I wanted to add multiple things. Cricket, watching cricket, right? So that's only simple thing which we can say. Watching cricket, not playing cricket. Watching cricket, and then watching movies. So yeah, so movies we have been written here. So how, this is how we will be writing it. So now what it has been done, so inside that one I can add this one as a array. So if you see here in the object, I have this one. Once again, I have this particular array over here, so that I can create this particular array. So now even this, if you wanted, you can directly check this. You can copy this all and then go back to your JSON finder, and here you can put that one, and something is missing. Something is missing. Yes, yes, yes. So
Comma
once we,
after one.
sorry,
Comma
here,
after one. Yeah.
yes. If you're given this one, now if you got here, so now if you see here, hobbies, see how this hierarchy came. I wanted this, so we can get this. So this is how this would be created. Okay, so now this is how we can create your JSON objects, like whatever the types we wanted. So either we can give the integers, strings, booleans, null values, whatever things you wanted, you can give over here. So this is what our JSON files. Now the last but not least, any means we wanted to know about this one. So guys, the basic impact, the basic important thing is, in JSON we will have object and an array, and then the JSON objects will be represented in the curly braces, arrays will be in the square braces. And this is how we will write the records, and this is how we create the JSON. So you need to understand, we have known what is JSON, why we use JSON, how to create the JSON file, and then how to create the JSON file we have been written till now. First, I created the JSON file, I have the JSON file, how I'll parse the data, how I'll access the data. So that is what the challenge for us, right? Now, what we will be doing is, I created the JSON. Now I understand what is JSON. Now I wanted to access that particular JSON. So for this one, we'll be using JSON path. There are many things to do parsing for this one. So like with the help of JSON, or we can with the help of Jackson, or with the help of Pojo classes, where there are many ways to do to access this particular data from this. What your means, what I'm trying means, what you're trying to say, Chris, I didn't understand. See, I have this particular data, I wanted to access this particular data. Means, for example, I want Abhilash hobbies. If I given it, how I can fetch this particular data? So for that one, we do have a particular plugin called JSON Path. So with the help of this particular JSON path, I can access the data from the JSON. Guys, here if you see here, I'm nowhere talking about the APIs. I'm just talking about JSON, JSON file formats, how to use the JSON file format, how to create the JSON file format. Now we are talking about how to access. Then how this JSONs will be useful means, if you see here, all your responses will be in the JSON only. Without understanding this, if you say that I know API automation, I don't know. You are saying that I don't know ABC, but I can write a very big novel. So you should know what is JSON and how to access this particular data. Now you are seeing nothing. What here you are trying to do? Just imagine, just imagine you are searching for a particular glove. For an example, now I went for Amazon. As soon as I click the Amazon, here I can click, okay, not that one. I click this mobile. You see how many products I'll be getting here? Everything, every data would be stored, right? You see how many pages will you have it? All this data would be your response. Okay, you got this response. They take this response and build this particular UI. Background of this one, just I searched this, right? So this is what the search endpoint. In the search endpoint, I pass the tag. With this particular tag, it hits the server, fetch all, and represented in this way. Means it with the image, names, and all. So there is a template. In the front end, I have a template. So now with this particular template, okay, you forgot to see this one. I think it's a morning one. I'll just draw it and show it so that it would be much more easier for us to understand on this. See, imagine that for an example. Now what it happened for this is already I'll be having a template here. If at all I'm searching for a particular product, I have a template. Means I should get the image and I should get the name and the description of the product and the information of the product like this. I have blank template, nothing will be there. Now as soon as I in the search box, this would be done by the front end developer already. Now what means, this is the front end UI, right? As soon as I search with the mobile, what it take this particular parameter. For the API, this is given is as a parameter, boss, go and bring me the mobiles. Now what it will try to do, it will hit me the DB, get that particular data with the help of this endpoint, and it will give it to the front end. Now what this guy developer written the code is, take this particular endpoint data and put into this particular template. Now he will put into the Samsung and Apple, and then uh, uh, Oppo or Vivo, whatever the phone names it will be showing. Instead of this, if I given it as a boxing glove, then this particular endpoint hit the server, get the data and put into the template. But now this time not mobile. So this time is called from Nevia, and then strong kicker, and then kickboxer. These are the brand names. Okay, so these particular brand names with the glove size and the description. So this template is common. So what he is trying to do, a front end template with the backend data, he will combine to form, and this is how we will be seeing it into the front end. So now whatever the things which you are trying to see it in here, so this is how we will be finding it out. So now if you see here, the format will not change. For example, now I told you, right? So I keep this one as boxing glove. So now as soon as I hit this one, you will get this particular boxing gloves, and then you will be getting this one. So because the size, the size and the information how you wanted to represent it, so he will be taking that one and then he will be searching and he'll be getting for this. So this is how this will be working. Okay, now the data would be transferred on this, so that we've got the data and then we will be passing it. Now how to parse that particular data, how to fetch that particular data. For an example, now I got this particular data, boss, I'm clear with that. So now I got this particular data, right? I got the data, but how I need to parse it? So for this one, we do have the JSON parser over here. Okay, so now what I'll try to do, I'll just close this, I'll go to this JSON data. Now how to install in Java and then doing it, I'll let you know later. But as of now, what you can see is, so now for an example, this is what my JSON data. If I have this particular JSON data, how I should able to access this particular data? So for this one, I have an excellent tool, or with an excellent tool which we do have, which is Jsonpath Validator. This is an online tool. Okay, now what I'll try to do, I'll take this particular same JSON copy here, and then I'll just keep this one into here, and I'll paste it over here. Okay, so now I just copied and pasted on this one. So now I pasted this particular JSON path here. Okay, so now I'm able to have this. Now I wanted to have these particular things, right? So how I can access this? Now this is what we need to do it. So for this one, we need to prepare few uh, prerequisites to read this particular data. What are the particular prerequisites is? So first one is dollar. So dollar is the root of anything and everything. So if you see here, as soon as I click the dollar, we got this complete into the dollar, whatever the data I'm having it. So now what I'll first try to do, I'll first try to access this one and then I'll access this one so that it is easier you'll understand. I want this color by the color bicycle under the bicycle color. Now how I need to access? So first I need to access to the store. Under store I have two arrays. One is book array, one is bicycle array. So I'll come to the book and bicycle, and if I wanted to access this I need to come like this. So now what I'll write, store, sorry, I need to write it as bicycle, right? It should be same I mean, the case, it's a case sensitive, you have to write the same bicycle. I have been written this bicycle, okay, dot, and what I need to have, color, nothing came. So where is this? See what I have been done the mistake. So it is in store bicycle, okay. So now first what I'll write, store, okay. In the store I got book and bicycle. So now what I'll write, dot, I want the bicycle, right? Bi bicycle. See, as I clicked store bicycle, I got this particular object. In this particular object, what I wanted, I want color. This is the value, I got it. So if you wanted to fetch this particular value, so first store means first root is nothing but this dollar symbol, and after the root symbol everywhere you have the dot, okay, dot, store bicycle color. This is how you'll be navigating it, right? See, now I need to navigate to some particular object. See, now I need to get my documents from Birva. So I need to go to a shelf and I need to open my Birva and I need to open my secret cupboard, and there I need to fetch my records. So that's a path I need to get it. So that's how store bicycle and then color I went. Now I wanted to go for book and then get this one. So now for an example, if I see here, now I have been written book. Now as soon as I seen it, see here what it was displaying me. This is what my results, right? So if you see here, as I entered store book means remaining data is nothing is printing here. I get all my 4 books. Okay, now what I wanted to do, my 4 books, I wanted the price, all my 4 book. Okay, I wanted all my 4 book authors. Okay, now what I'll need to do, I'll give the square braces. I need for all the people, right? Star means whatever the things are there, entire thing, entire document. If I given star means it will go fetch all my entire books. See, it given me my entire books. Now from my entire books, what I wanted, I want the authors. Okay, author. So as soon as I click the author, so I'm able to get the author, Rees, and then Wog and Herman and JRR. So if you see here, I got it. If I got the, if I wanted to want the price, just it's simple, price, I'll get it. See, now this is how I'm able to access this particular data. So there are multiple ways which we need to access this data. So quickly, first of all, we will see what are the things which we need to go through this, and then we will try to fetch. So there are few quick prerequisites. So dollar is the root where we can go to the dollar and then get it. And @ symbol will talk about the current node. What do you mean by the current node? Means if you go to this particular online editor, anything is called the current node. So category is a node. So means this is what the current node, this is what the current node, these are the nodes, right? So this is what, if you wanted to mention a particular node, so then you will be using @ symbol. And star, it is wild character. If you wanted to get anything, so you'll be using that particular star. And double dot means it's a deep scan. For an example, if you go here in the deep scan, I wanted to get the price, I don't wanted to write all this stuff bus. If I given this one, I'm able to get my prices. Okay, if I wanted to get, it is a deep scan, double dot I have been given, and I have been given the author. So if I given the author, I'm able to get this particular author, whatever you wanted. So now if you wanted to give the price, so now price, you'll be getting the price of all. See, now you get all the prices, even in your bicycle price also you're able to get it. because it doesn't matter wherever you have it. See, if you are very familiar with in UI in Selenium, you'll be writing the X paths, right? Instead of X paths, this is JSON paths. Very simple, right? Do you remember in the X path we have 16 varieties of X paths to identify an object uniquely? Here it's also in this particular thing, if you wanted to identify any particular value, so you'll be using the JSON path. That's simple. So now coming back here, now what are the other things I need to remember? So we have been gone through this, right? These are enough. And expression and then slicing, I'll talk about it. I'll show the practical demonstration. And minimum, it will show you which is minimum in that particular complete JSON. So now for an example, if you go to this particular JSON, in this one, which is minimum, for example, I wanted to know which is the minimum price book for doing the filtration. I'll get this 8.995 is the minimum one. Maximum, average, and standard deviation of this one, or length of this one, or sum of this one. So like this, you can use this particular internal methods, which is JSON is providing it. JSON path is providing for this. And same way, we will be having comparative operators, equal to, not equal to, less than, greater than, equal to, and greater than, less than, equal to. So these are normally how you compare the things, you will compare it. Now let's try the things to fetch this particular data. So they have been given some examples here. So now if I wanted to get all authors book, so just I'll take this and then I'll just try to paste it. You see all my authors, I'm able to get it. So what I'm trying to do, dollar symbol means throughout the node, go to the store, go to the book and books, all books you take it, and then author, I'll be getting it. So here if I change it to the price, I'll get the all the prices. Cool. So now the next one is deep scan. We are trying to do it. So now I'm able to do double dot author, so that I'll be able to get all my author names. And if you given store dot star, so now what I store, if I given store dot star, whatever the things under the store, it will be printing to me. See, under the store, whatever the things are there, books and bicycles. So it gives me that particular information over here. So now if I wanted the book means all the prices, then I'll be using dollar store double star price. So you will be getting this. Now what you can quickly do is go everyone for this particular path. Go everyone for this particular path. I'm pinging the URL. So this is the JSON path. So now as soon as you went here, so you'll come here, means you'll be reaching to this particular page. Now once you're reaching to this particular page, you need some JSON data, right? So this is okay. Go to this particular path. So now this is JSON path. Okay, open this, open this. Okay. So now as soon as means this is one is evaluator and another one is this one. So copy this one and paste it into on your left hand side on your inputs. Okay, so once you have been placed into your inputs, now okay, now what you can do is you can read here. Okay, I wanted to get all authors, so try out with this particular options. All these options will work except one, this will not work. Okay, don't try that, don't try it as of now. Okay, let me see once. No, not this one. So in the meantime, because you need to do hands-on, then only you will understand this. Except this one, everything will work. I'll let you know why it is not working later. But apart from that one, you can try out each and everything. It is easily understandable by you. Okay, who wanted to share the screen? Okay, before this one, guys, you wanted, because it's already 1 hour time over, you want the break, quick break for 5 minutes. We will have another 30 minutes of session. Okay, take break. It's 5:17. Let's catch back by 5:23. Of we will catch back at, okay, 5:25. So 5:25 we will resume back, and then we'll close by probably 6 o'clock max the session. Okay, see you all.
Yes.
I'm stopping here. Oh my God. So this much time I didn't record at this meeting, huh?